with just a few hours left until the primary begins here in the Granite State, late tonight up in Dixville Notch. By this time tomorrow, however, we will get our first early sense of what primary voters here in New Hampshire think of their options, the top issues of concern, and ultimately who they believe should lead this state as the winner. For Republicans, they have just two choices left: former President Donald Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. More on that in a moment. For Democrats, they have a few choices, but the contender the party hopes will win, President Biden, isn't even officially on the ballot. We'll get into that as well later this hour. New Hampshire is the next step in what has become an accelerated and somewhat muted campaign season, with the fog of inevitability enveloping both the Democratic and Republican contests. This state will hold the first primary as its state law requires, and then, who knows? But there may not be much of a contest left for this year, once again raising questions that are asked every 4 years. Do we put too much emphasis and influence in the hands of fewer than 500,000 people who have cast or are expected to cast ballots in Iowa and New Hampshire? Are New Hampshire and Iowa worthy of this incredible power, or is the way we pick a president in need of rethinking? Consider the expense of it all. More than $77 million have been spent on advertising across this tiny state that has just 873,000 registered voters. That's even before we factor in how much campaigns spent to hold rallies, mail and call voters, and feed and house those volunteers and staff who are helping out. So is it worth it? That's something to debate and consider yet again in the coming days and years. So first, we begin with the latest on Nikki Haley's campaign with CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns out in the streets of New Hampshire tonight. Caitlin, as the last alternative standing, how is the campaign preparing, and how are they setting expectations ahead of tomorrow night?
Hey, Ed, good to see you. I just want to note that it has warmed up a little here in New Hampshire. I don't have gloves. I don't have a scarf. So this is welcome news, which raises a question about whether voters might be more incentivized to turn out as the weather heats up a little bit, relatively speaking. To the campaign, this is now very much a two-person race that Nikki Haley has been asking for. With DeSantis having dropped out, it's now between Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. And what's interesting here is that if you think about it, they're not really competing for the same voters. You have base voters of the Republican Party very much endeared to the former president. Nikki Haley has been trying to court independent voters that we talk about here, 40% of the electorate here, moderate Republicans who may be willing to turn the page. But it's really just going to be a small percentage of really persuadable voters that Nikki Haley is going to have to overperform with in order to compete with Donald Trump. We talk about New Hampshire as a place that has fertile ground for underdogs hoping to tap into that undeclared independent electorate here, but it's also an independent electorate that went for Trump in 2016 in that primary and fueled his path to the nomination. And Republicans on the ground I've been talking to here say that it's still very much an uphill climb for Haley, and not all independent voters are alike. Remember, some of them are going to be supporting Trump because they don't necessarily support the Republican Party, but they do support him.
And real quick, Caitlin, at the end of tomorrow night, are they good with a 10-point margin in between these two? Do they want to keep it within single digits? What's the goal for her team?
It is a good question, Ed. She has been saying that she wants a strong finish here, but what does that look like? We've seen over the course of the past few days the team sort of try to manage expectations. Chris Sununu, the popular governor here who's campaigning all over the state for her, has said that a strong second place finish, just getting this down to a one-on-one race, has achieved a goal, and a strong finish is desired. But I talked to the Republican chairman of the New Hampshire Republican Party here today, and he said really she has to come within single digits to be able to make that case for continuing on. Otherwise, it's Trump's glide path to the nomination.
We shall see. Caitlin Huey-Burns in Salem, New Hampshire tonight. More from you as the evening progresses. We'll also hear from Nikki Haley directly in a conversation with Norah O'Donnell later this hour. Stay tuned for that. But for now, we turn to CBS Morning's co-host Tony Dokoupil and CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa here with us inside in New Hampshire. Tony, good to see you after the sun sets, as opposed to as it's rising. Bob, always good to see you. Bob, let's start with you, tracking the Trump campaign here with a day to go. Where's their head at? What are they thinking ahead of tomorrow?
Well, former President Trump was in a courtroom today, yet again. And that's so indicative of where this campaign stands. The Trump campaign has him in a courtroom, then has him on the campaign trail. And that's really been the balancing act they've had. And for most campaigns, if you're facing legal challenges, it's going to be a political burden. But when you talk to Trump sources these days, they think it actually fuels him in the primary because it stokes the motivations of his voters, stokes those grievances. And he's going to keep showing up, whether it's at the civil level, the state level, criminal stuff on the federal level. It is kind of the essence of the Trump campaign at this moment, that he's casting himself as a perceived victim of a political and legal establishment.
And that's where so much of his focus, his juice, and the potential growth and fundraising appeal is right now. Right?
Yes and no. I mean, when I talk to my sources in Washington, they say, for now, this helps Trump because the base likes to see that he's fighting the court. He's fighting Jack Smith, the special counsel. But when I talk to my sources in the Senate and in the House, they ultimately think all these legal challenges are going to be a burden on Trump, that mainstream voters come November 2024 are going to see this as a drag not only on Trump, but the fear is for many Republicans is that all these legal challenges will be a drag on the Republican ticket. Think about if that January 6th case, even if it doesn't start in March as scheduled, it could start in May, June, or July. That means all those January 6 issues, that populates the summer news cycle. That brings everything back to the fore.
Of all people you ran into at breakfast this morning,
I ran into Rudy Giuliani at the Red Arrow Diner.
Really?
Yeah. Rudy Giuliani, who's, of course, under scrutiny by federal investigators. But the fact that Rudy Giuliani is in the spotlight for his own legal challenges, but he's here on the campaign trail and it's shrugged at by most Republicans, in fact, encouraged by Trump allies. That tells you everything about at least the Trump side of this race.
I didn't know.
He had thoughts on how well Haley has to do, right? Didn't he tell you?
So Rudy reflects what a lot of Trump people are saying, which is if she doesn't come within single digits or close, they think the race is all but over. Yeah. Now, I don't think the race is over necessarily along that narrative because if the money comes in after New Hampshire for Haley, she's in the race. These are only 2 out of 50 states. If she has the money to compete in Super Tuesday, she's still in this. The question is, does she want to take the political risk in South Carolina? It'd be like going into your home state and risking a loss. It's egg on your face politically. If she doesn't do well here, does she really take the risk and go into South Carolina? I'm not so sure based on my reporting.
Yeah, and of course, if the money buys her new life in South Carolina, that adds to the attack that Donald Trump has been leveling against her, which is that, she's a corporate, old school Republican, not a real Republican, not a MAGA Republican at all.
So back in the day, Bob and I worked with a guy named David Broder who used to do what you did over the weekend.
Talk to people?
Well, not only talk to people, but specifically in supermarket parking lots.
This is the place to be, and it's the place to be. Let's just
If you come up to me in the supermarket parking lot, I'm walking away.
First of all, I help you with the groceries, so there's that, okay? And second of all,
Were you loading groceries in?
I loaded groceries, and I will put your cart away, okay? So I'm a benefit. I am an aid.
Camera's on.
I'm a companion and an aid. But so the big issue, and let's just give in for a second to the likelihood that this is going to be a Trump-Biden rematch in November, and also I'll give you some insight on why Trump is doing well right now with traditional Republicans, and it's the economy. When you talk to people outside of a grocery store, the macro numbers doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that unemployment is low. It doesn't matter that wages are rising. It doesn't matter that inflation is down a whole ton, like the biggest drop in modern history.
Right.
Because the things that people deal with in their lives every day, the frozen OJ that gets them through the winter, up double digits in the last year still. The steak they like on Friday, up double digits in the last year. That's the kind of stuff. Another one, this is a real one. The vending machine food, the snack you get at work. Maybe it's $1.25 now instead of $1. That annoys the heck out of people.
Sure does.
And it casts a gloomy mood over their entire lives, and they don't feel hopeful about the future. And they remember back to 2016, the economy was strong. Donald Trump came into office. It got even better for them. Their stock market was doing great. They felt optimistic, and so they're voting for that in the supermarket parking lots all over America.
And we have some of your conversation with these people. Why don't
Let's
we
roll
take a
it.
look?
I think I'm going to just not vote.
It's hard, to be honest with you. For me, I'm not sure. I don't know yet.
Really? A lot of people have already made up their mind, or they're totally disgusted and they're not going to vote
Well,
for
I'm
anybody.
disgusted. I'm going to vote because if you don't vote, then you can't complain.
Yeah,
do
I mean,
appreciate her sentiments.
the most common thing I hear from voters, and this is true in every state I've been to so far, and even before the caucus and the primary, people are just disillusioned. I mean, Nikki Haley's not wrong when she says the overwhelming majority of Americans do not want a Trump-Biden rematch. Unfortunately, that's not bringing your traction. I'm going to give you one additional sticky data point here on the economy. The phones we all have in our pocket, officially, if you look at the data, this has declined in price by like 25%. But practically, it used to be $200, and now it's over $1,000.
Right.
So what's going on here? The federal data has a fuzzy correction for quality of the item. But the fact remains, your phone still costs 5 times more than it did when Obama was president.
Right.
People look at things like that they deal with every day, like the unreachability of their next smartphone, and they think, I'm screwed. I need a change. And Donald Trump still, for so many voters, represents that change.
And I wonder how many of those quiet voters are Trump voters. I remember in 2016, a lot of people would tell me, oh, I hate them both. I hate them both. But then they would say 5 or 6 questions in, oh, I kind of like Trump. There's still a social stigma for some voters when I encounter them to talk about their support for Trump. So I do wonder, does Trump have quieter support, or maybe it's Haley? Maybe people are fed up with Trump and his conduct and his legal challenges.
We shall see in about 24 hours when we start to get exit poll results. We'll see Tony Dokoupil. We'll see you in the morning.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you both. Yeah.
Bob, working both ends of the candle. Thank you as well.